I did a TikTok live the other day where I talked about the book Creativity by Cleese. And I just remembered another thing that I read in that book that was really interesting to me. One of the things that he talked about was how engaging in a creative act uses both parts of your brain. And so you start with the creative part, that get the one that works out the ideas, that has all the inspiration, that solves all the problems in your project. But then you need your thinking brain and your more analytical brain to come in and do the work for a while. And then he says that comes in and does the work for a while until you get stuck. And then that's when you need the creativity to come back. And it's sort of like a cycle. You've got the creativity, then you have the doing part, and then you have the creativity, then you have the doing part. And that made a lot of sense to me because one of the things about Mosaic, which is what I'm working on right now, is that there are these like tedious moments. Like for example, I did this mosaic last week. It hasn't been grouted yet, but you can't tell in the video, but the black outline around the eye is a bunch of little bitty slivers of glass like that, like little tiny, tiny, tiny slivers of glass. And any art form has that level of intricacy and skill and technique that plays an important part in the end result. So really, in a creative project, it is not only your creativity doing the work, but it's also your skill and your talent. And so you nurture your creativity but you also have to nurture your skill and your talent alongside. And I think too that you need to choose an art form where you like and find fun the level of intricacy and detail. So I find cutting these little tiny pieces, yes, it's like way more tedious than the work on the rest of it, but I'm willing to do it because I love what it brings to the work, and the level of detail that I can get in the work to me is worth it. And so I couldn't do an entire mosaic with only little tiny pieces. There are many people that do that who are so very precise. Like that would get too tedious and I would get bored. So you have to find one where that works for you. Like I watch this guy on TikTok. He shows up in my For You page all the time, and he's drawing live with colored pencil a picture of Eeyore as a stuffed animal. And it's like so incredibly detailed and precise and so realistic. And it looks so tedious. And I was like, there's no way in hell I could do that. It's like you have to find that perfect sweet spot between your creativity and then the tedium that you find fun. And like where those two things meet, that's where your magic is going to be. And then are you the third thing? Maybe the third thing is you and your authenticity, or is that included in creativity? I'm not sure. But either way, I think this could be a good lesson that if you are stuck, that maybe you need to dip back into creativity if you've been in the implementation stage for a while. And then if you're not getting anything done, you need to hop out of the creative stage and into the implementation stage. So like perhaps there's like a misalignment or an unbalanced ratio of creativity to implementation time. And I think that's one of the things I like about Mosaic and that I like about mixed media collage is that I do tend to do things really quickly. Like I work fast, I do everything fast. And with both of those mediums, I can go in and out of implementation and creative back and forth really fast. Whereas in something else like highly detailed drawing, like that's more like the creative happens first and then you do the implementation for a long time. And the way I like to work and the way I like to create is I like that dopamine hit of that back and forth. It's probably my neurodivergence that likes that. And that's probably why I didn't do very well at things like knitting, because I need more stimulation. So I worked this all out on video. I processed this about myself, and maybe that helped you process too. What do you think? How does that resonate with you? I'd love to hear in the comments what you think.